Oh,
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Chris. And thank you to everyone who's joining us today. It's really a joy to be here with you.
aloha or shaloha or salam alaikum, buenos dias or buenos noches or whatever an appropriate greeting would be for you in your world, your land, your time zone. It's really an honor to be here. So thank you, Chris, for your tech support. Thank you, Stephen, for your kind invitation. We are grateful to be here this evening, almost evening from our side. What we are intending to explore tonight is to invite you into an inquiry into the many dimensions of gratitude. We'll share some meditation, we'll explore some of the research and the science around gratitude. We'll offer some guidelines for our daily lives and really highlight the vital importance of gratitude to help us navigate this world of just profound change and uncertainty that we find our way into with each moment, each day, and each breath. So let us begin by being grateful that we are all here together.
Thanks, Joel. And building on that, I invite you to just really arrive here in the present moment, to open your awareness to your surroundings, to the great gift and blessing that we have, that we are able to connect with each other in this way, to be here. Gratitude for our eyes and our ears, that we can see and hear each other, and for the miracle of technology, the marvel that helps us to be this global community, to be in resonance with each other all around the globe through this time, this event that's helping us to connect more deeply with ourselves and with each other. So just take a moment to really come present with yourself and with each other, with all of us here. Gratitude for this moment and for everything that supports us and has supported us in arriving to this time and this moment, this place.
As we continue to begin, I invite each of us to just sense that each of us is like an island rising up out of the sea. That each of us, as we go deeper and deeper into awareness of the full dimensionality of ourselves, we reach into a substrate that perhaps lies below the threshold of what's visually apparent, below the surface of appearances, if you will. Imagine just going deeper and deeper, all of us deeper and deeper into just sensing a connection in like the substrate of the earth that gives rise to all of the islands, that each of us is an expression of. As you reach down with your mind, with your feet, even with your hand, to touch and sense the earth below you, sense that the earth connects us with everyone and everything that we're grateful for. Everyone and everything that supports us, that gives us strength, that gives us nourishment. And that in a very simple way, just as we breathe, it's as though we gather strength, inspiration, blessings from everyone and everything that supports us. And as we breathe out, we just extend our gratitude and our thanks back into that deep ground that we all have our roots in. So that each breath can become like a gesture of receiving and of radiating. Affirming our deep connection to everyone and everything that we stand with and for, everyone and everything that we're grateful for. And as we continue, I'd like to invite us all to really practice in the spirit of not just being here for ourselves, though we will certainly, hopefully, each of us find some benefit and inspiration in this experience together. But to be here in a way that whatever gratitude we open our hearts to, whatever peace of mind we feel, whatever insights that we gain, let us hold, may these be for the benefit of all, as though whatever goodness comes to our little island we could take that to heart and let that ripple through the substrate and share that peace with all beings, share the energy and the goodness of that gratitude with all beings, share the strength, the insight, the hope, the sense of deep, meaningful connection with all things and all beings who we are seamlessly interwoven with in the larger body of life.
As we continue now our exploration and meditation of gratitude, I'd like to begin with a beautiful quote from Joanna Macy on gratitude. And just listen with your heart as well as your ears for how this quote is meaningful for you. To be alive in this beautiful self-organizing universe, to participate in the dance of life with senses to perceive all of this dance of life, with lungs that breathe it, organs that draw nourishment from it, is a wonder beyond words. Gratitude for the gift of life is the primary wellspring of all religions, all spiritual traditions. As I say that, a rainbow just appeared outside in the sky in front of us. Gratitude for the gift of life is the primary wellspring of all religions, the hallmark of the mystic, the source of all true art. Furthermore, it is a privilege to be alive in this time when we can choose to take part in the healing of our world and in the healing of ourselves. So turning our hearts and our minds now toward gratitude, let us be mindful of anyone or anything that comes to mind for which we are grateful. Just sitting in a space of receptivity with this question of who or what am I grateful for? What aspects of my life, be it something that we perceive on the outside, some other being or place in nature, some quality of life that we experience beyond ourselves, or it may be some aspect of your life that has its source within yourself, as in a talent you might have, an inclination, a gift, predisposition that you're grateful to have, an aspect of yourself. Just what am I grateful for? Who am I grateful for at this time in my life? Right now, what comes to mind, comes to heart. Maybe each breath, nothing is too ordinary or too small or too large to be welcomed into your awareness with this question and this deep listening. What am I grateful for? Any strengths or capacities or qualities that you really value and are grateful for their expression in your life in any way.
And with each wave of gratitude as it appears and presents itself to you, draw that whatever you're grateful for into the focus of your awareness, or draw them into your heart. And deepen into each experience of gratitude, really savoring it, really with a sense of curiosity, openness, acceptance, and loving awareness. Look into each experience of gratitude to see how it's composed or constellated. And see if you can go deep enough into each wave, each experience of gratitude, that then that gratitude overflows as an upwelling and an overflowing from the depths of your heart, from the depths of your being, of gratitude, of thanksgiving, of waves of light or blessings that flow from your heart, your mind, back to whoever or whatever you're grateful for. And then just proceed wave by wave of gratitude, being mindful of who or what appears and presents itself, to recognize each wave of gratitude, to gather whoever or whatever into your heart, to deepen in that sense of gratitude, and let it overflow as blessing, just shining the light of your loving kindness, your thanksgiving back to whoever or whatever you're grateful for. In a sense, completing the great circle of having received this gift and then saying thank you or bless you. And then just proceed breath by breath, wave by wave, almost like you're counting beads, prayer beads, or a mala or rosary, one by one or group by group, as waves of gratitude come to you. Then letting your heart reach back with thank you, with waves of light and blessing.
You may be surprised at what shows up, who shows up. Being curious about each one as you send your appreciation, feel the gratitude. Even for those experiences or memories that may come up that may surprise you or that you may not have originally would have looked for, but that have presented themselves to you as me too, or this one also.
And as you deepen into each wave of gratitude with a sense of curiosity and openness, acceptance, and loving awareness, really recognize how each experience of gratitude is constellated with many, many other thoughts or feelings, sensations, memories, hopes or fears, joys or sorrows. That the experience of gratitude is really a profound amalgamation and constellation of many different threads, interweaving together into these moments of gratitude, which upon examination can be quite rich and complex in their tones and textures. Whatever you find in this contemplation of gratitude, really give thanks for that. Give thanks for the insight. Give thanks for the strength and the opportunity that challenges may present. And extend your gratitude and your blessings, not just back to whoever or whatever you're grateful for, but envision extending those blessings and that thanksgiving to all the causes and conditions that lead those people to be in your life, that have led those circumstances to come about in your life. So your gratitude doesn't just stop with the delivery node of the person or the actual experience, but your gratitude and your blessings extends into the deep fabric of existence, back to ancestors, back to all the beings and all the decisions that were made, the circumstances that have led to those blessings being a part of our lives. Each breath really in a deep and profound gesture of gratitude and blessing. gratitude and thanksgiving. As you practice in this way, if your mind wanders off, just notice the excursion or the entanglement in some wave of association or thought, and just with a smile and an release that entanglement and come back into this flow of gratitude and blessing.
You may notice the web of connections that come up with one awareness of gratitude, one friend that comes to mind, and then the recognition that, oh, this other person introduced you to that friend. So a wave of gratitude can go not only to your friend, but to this other being who brought them into your life, and the situation that allowed them to continue to be part of your life or to bless you in a certain way. Just seeing all the threads of interconnections, deep connectedness that gratitude is composed of.
And in the richness of this meditation, this contemplation on the many, many dimensions and harmonics of gratitude, I'm also reminded of some teachings from one of our teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, who used to remind us to be grateful for our non-toothache. And even if you have a toothache, you could be grateful for the other 31 teeth that aren't aching in this moment.
Or your non-backache, or
your non-hurricane or non-flood
calamities.
or your non-COVID, or for all the calamities and the circumstances that haven't manifested in our lives, to give thanks for those, to appreciate that gratitude can also be for the goodness of that which is absent in our lives. The great good fortune that we have to have the peace, to have the abundance, to have the circumstances that we do. So for a moment, as we come to the completion of this wave of contemplation, I just invite you to reach up and touch your heart or look into your heart. And for a few moments, just savor and appreciate, discern what has come alive within you, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, through this wave of contemplations on gratitude and blessing. What qualities of being are alive within you, alive and glowing and flowing within you in this moment? And whatever goodness you find here, whatever inspiration, peace, joy, well-being that you find, whatever positive feeling, just gather that goodness into your heart and just pour that from your heart into the hearts of all beings everywhere, to share this great goodness with them. Just as though your island just ripples this down through your deep roots, that the ripple of that will reach out and tickle the deep roots, or resonate or shine this light from the deep roots of your being to offer the light of this blessing and this gratitude, this deep sharing with all things and all beings.
If you like, as you do this, you may enjoy just the connection of reaching up to touch your heart and to kind of ground and connect and to feel your beating heart and to be grateful for this flow of life energy, for this amazing organ that works so hard for you all day and all night for your whole life, resting in between pumps, but continually there for you. Now we can kind of pump our gratitude out to all, all our relations.
So in this contemplation on gratitude, this is inspired by many of our teachers, Brother David Stendelrost and many of our First Nations teachers as well, who've reminded us that gratitude is one thing, but going beyond just the experience of gratitude to thanksgiving, to blessing, is a whole different richness to the practice. And as many of our First Nations teachers would say, that if a blessing comes to us and we don't give thanks for that, in a sense, we undermine the flow of those blessings to continue in our lives, because we're breaking that circle. That in a sense, if every time you turn on the water and the faucet and water runs, let your thanks reach back to the mountaintops and the clouds, to the reservoirs and the engineers and the faucet makers. Let your heart reach back to everyone and everything that has brought that water to you. In a sense, then that will create the causes and conditions for those waters to continue to flow. Or if you turn on the electricity and the lights come on, to give thanks for that as well. That's one of the really quintessential points we wanted to remind you of in this kind of a contemplation on gratitude. And also to remember that we can give thanks for not only what we're grateful for, but through them to the whole web of interconnection that brings those blessings and those gifts to us. And that we can also be grateful for all of the circumstances that aren't happening in our lives, that we're really grateful aren't present for us at this time. So those are some reminders of some of the key points in that contemplation.
So now we'd like to shift for this time together, just to really look at some of the research on the benefits of gratitude, and then look at some of the science around gratitude. And we have a little infographic that we just put up for a visual aid here in a moment. So over these last decades, the research studies on gratitude have really increased and expanded. And here's just a little sample of some of these. If you have your screen, hopefully you can see this. One of the early researchers is a woman, a psychology professor at UC, University of California in Riverside. Her name is Sonia Lubomirsky. And she did a lot of studies around the early studies on the benefits of gratitude for our health and well-being, for promoting family happiness, when people in families keep gratitude journals and share them, even if you only make an entry a couple of times or 3 times a week. She also found that students' academic performance actually improved in keeping a gratitude journal, just realizing, wow, things are okay. There's a lot of good in my life, and that kind of built confidence and a sense of capacity to even improve their studies. And she has a wonderful quote here that I'll share with you. She wrote, Dr. Lubomirsky wrote, "Gratitude is an antidote to negative emotions, a neutralizer of envy, hostility, worry, and irritation. It is savoring. It is not taking things for granted. It is present oriented. It helps us to be in the present moment when we get in touch with what is working in our life that we're grateful for right now." She wrote a beautiful book called The How of Happiness. It has a lot more research on gratitude in that book as well.
So if we look at some of the evolutionary origins of gratitude, there's really some profound research on that. It seems that gratitude is an evolutionary adaptation, and it's not limited to the human species. I think one of my favorite examples is some of the research on chimps, where like a chimp let in from the outside where it's cold and rainy and brought inside has been known to go and hug its keeper, thanking them for letting them come inside and be warm and sheltered. There's many other animals as well that have been seen to share food with those other animals that have groomed them or done kind things for them in the past or protected them. So there's this kind of evolutionary adaptation and reciprocity and acknowledgement of relatedness and care, a quality that's sometimes called reciprocal altruism. The emotion of gratitude's been selected out to regulate our human responses to altruistic acts, and the emotion is sensitive to the cost and benefit ratio of our giving and receiving, that there is something in this that to be grateful, we need to pay attention. As we pay attention, we start to be more empathically resonant with other beings. If they have a need, we're more likely to respond to that need. If we respond to that need in another being, they're more likely to be kind not only to us or generous towards us, but to be more kind or to be more generous to others. So that there's a kind of evolutionary adaptability and richness in our availability to gratitude and in our expression of gratitude is really quite profound. Gratitude, what's good about gratitude? You know, first of all, gratitude is an affirmation of goodness. We affirm that there are good things in our lives, in our world, that there are good qualities in ourselves or in others. So that rather than letting the parts of the brain that get so overwhelmed and hijacked by looking for dangers and problems, gratitude helps us to really recognize the good and to celebrate that and to give thanks for that. The second part of gratitude is that we recognize that these sources of goodness are outside of ourselves, that we can acknowledge other people, other living beings, nature, the gifts that come to us of beauty and of comfort and of nourishment that may come to us. Gratitude really helps us to appreciate these gifts and then to respond with thanksgiving and kindness and generosity is kind of a moral memory of our humanity and of our interrelatedness. It's no small thing that so many of the wisdom traditions and the First Nations traditions begin every gathering, every meeting with some kind of a ritual of thanksgiving, variations on the Thanksgiving prayer, or various expressions of gratitude are so much a part of so many cultures. The parts of the brain that are activated when we're experiencing gratitude, the anterior cingulate cortex and the medial prefrontal cortex, are both associated with emotional processing, with interpersonal bonding, with rewarding social interactions, meaningful social interactions, and a sense of moral intelligence and ethical responsibility. You could say that gratitude is kind of like a social glue that helps us to feel more connected through our mindfulness and through our empathy. And one of the models that is often cited in the research speaks to how gratitude is important for us in forming and maintaining healthy and pro-social relationships, because it helps us find, remind, and bind in meaningful ways through the experience of gratitude. And this is how that works, by attuning to other people and recognizing the thoughtfulness or the kindness of other people. Gratitude helps us to find and identify with people who are good candidates for future relationships, trustworthy people, reliable people, people who care for us and who we in turn care for. So it helps us find these relationships. Gratitude also reminds people of the goodness that exists in their relationships. And that's a really powerful thing for us, even in some of the most difficult relationships at times, to still remember moments of kindness that were there and to really give thanks for the blessings of really good, reliable friends and family, coworkers. And gratitude binds us to others who we're in relationship with, to our friends and family, our colleagues and coworkers, by helping us to feel a deep sense of appreciation and to express that appreciation, to let the gratitude overflow as thanksgivings, and to express that in ways that then creates that loop and encourages others to continue to be kind and generous and create the causes and conditions for us to feel grateful. So this is really quite profound to see how this plays out in our families and in our workplaces, in our communities. If you're interested in research on gratitude, one of the best places that I've found over the years as we've been exploring this is to go to the Greater Good Science Center online, Greater Good Science. And or you could do a search for a white paper they did, a white paper on the science of gratitude, white paper on the science of gratitude, which is a beautiful document. It really goes into some of the best science that I've seen around the nature and the meaning of gratitude.
And also provides a pretty in-depth overview of the kinds of benefits and positive outcomes that gratitude promotes.
We'd like to take a few moments now to really explore gratitude in a larger context. You know, clearly, I think probably everybody who's part of this gratitude community on Facebook has really recognized the profound power of gratitude to carry us through difficult times and difficult experiences. And we'd just like to explore and frame that in a bit broader way. At one level, gratitude opens our hearts to a deeper appreciation and joy in our life, even joy for the opportunities that experiences may bring to us that are challenging.
Can kind of appreciate how gratitude would protect us from self-pity with drowning into feeling sorry for ourselves beyond a reasonable amount of time. You know, gratitude helps pick us up and prevent us from just kind of going down, going under with that self-pity tendency. And gratitude really, I think for me, it's a sense of one of the best parts of gratitude is it nourishes this feeling of loving being alive and being glad that you're here, being glad that you're alive when you remember the kindness of others or the beauty of nature or the deep friendships that have blessed your life. So that sense of appreciation for life. Gratitude really opens us. It opens our hearts. It makes us more generous and overflowing toward others and to ourselves, to be more loving and accepting and self-compassionate to ourselves when we have this openness of heart that gratitude engenders. And I love this sense of gratitude that it's really actually very subversive in its own way, because when we're feeling grateful, when our hearts are filled with gratitude, we have a sense that we're well resourced. We're not succumbing to this kind of consumer society mentality or growth society mentality that we need more. We always need more. We're insufficient. We don't have enough. Gratitude, I know for myself when I do gratitude practice, one thing just leads to another. I may not even think of anything to begin with, but as I listen into that question, what am I grateful for? The chain of associations that starts to develop is so abundant, and this feeling of fullness and blessing is so fulfilling and nurturing that it kind of antidotes that sense of lack or insufficiency. So gratitude helps us from feeling this neediness and increasing neediness that we need to get this thing or that thing to feel good. And it's really affirming how well resourced we are and how many blessings there are in our lives.
Mm. Gratitude also just dissolves the conceptual boundaries of ourselves. Einstein talked about how so much, if not all, of our human suffering comes from what he called an optical delusion of consciousness that leads us to feel separate from other beings and other things. And when we start to realize that gratitude and thanksgiving really help us to dissolve those barriers and to feel more like streams of energy and light, energy and information, resources, kindness, love that flow to us and then flow through us to each other, really binding ourselves together as living cells and systems streaming within the larger body of life. One of the most powerful models that we've worked with around gratitude comes from one of our teachers who to us is really one of the most relevant teachers of our time, named Joanna Macy. And Joanna's work, oftentimes framed as the work that reconnects, is a profound body of teachings that really has such relevance for us in how we live our lives in these very complex and challenging times. And Joanna teaches, and we use this with so many different groups. They're trying to make some significant change in their lives, in their world, their communities. Joanna encourages us to always begin with gratitude, to resource ourselves with gratitude, to strengthen ourselves with gratitude, to remind us of our courage and strength and relatedness and capacity. And then with that strength, in the sense, having lubricated ourselves with the power and the viscosity of gratitude, then we can turn our attention to honoring and embracing the suffering in our lives, in our world. And we're resourced enough to be able to do that effectively. If we go straight to solving the problem or contemplating the complexity, we can be so easily overwhelmed by the empathic distress of that. That if we start with gratitude, it can give us the strength to embrace that complexity and those challenges, and to go deeply enough into that our wisdom eyes begin to open more deeply to really see and understand what's going on and what the complexities of things are. And that clear, deeper seeing, that deeper wisdom then gives us greater capacity to go forth into the world as a force for good, as an expression of creative compassion in action. So we just wanted to offer that model to you as a really useful framework to conceive of the profound power of gratitude.
In a sense, gratitude helps us fill our tanks, and gives us energy to do the work that we need to in transforming ourselves and the world.
So we'd like to move on now to just offer some guidelines for the daily practice of gratitude. And we encourage you to begin this really before you get out of bed in the morning, and absolutely to challenge you to do this before you start fiddling with your devices, as kind of an act of sovereignty over those devices to attune and calibrate your own personal operating system before you log on, so to speak. So here's a sequence of contemplations, including gratitude, for beginning your day. The first is to be in the first moment that you're awake, the first moment that you're awake, that you're aware, just take a deep breath, reach up and touch your heart, and say thank you for the gift of another day of life.
Another precious day, still here.
Yeah, awake that you're awake and grateful. Go straight there. And then if you like, just soak in that gratitude for a few moments. What are you grateful for? You're grateful that the roof didn't leak last night. You're grateful that the house is still standing. You're grateful that your heart is still beating and your eyes are still seeing, and that you're grateful for all the joints in your body that aren't aching. You know, awake that you're awake, and awake to that gratitude. And then as a third step, to really listen deeply to what's most important for me to remember and stay true to today. To really listen for your guidance and to set your intention for how you want to live this day, really on purpose. Yeah. And then awake that you're awake, grateful, and clear on your purpose and intention for living this day, then get out of bed and launch on into the day and do the best you can, being mindful and staying true to the intention that you set. And in the context of this conversation, really looking for how many things can you be grateful for in your life and your world, and to then go back into this gratitude and blessing.
And just holding this intention will actually help you to notice those little things that you might have overlooked that become a source of joy and wonder and appreciation in your life. Someone's smile, or that little flower peeping out from a crack in the concrete, or something just that you might not have expected that comes your way. Just to begin to notice and acknowledge and send your gratitude back, your encouragement to that source of joy and wonder and kindness.
This is kind of in the spirit of a really profound lesson I received as a young man. I was in my very early 20s and at a conference with a bunch of elder colleagues and mentors. And one of these elder brothers said to me, basically, "Hey kid, how often do you look for beauty in your world?" And I kind of went, wow, yeah, I could do more of that. You know, I could. And I don't remember his name. I remember kind of the twinkle in his eyes when he said it. But that challenge to look for beauty in my life has stayed with me for 40 something years now. And I think in the same way, I'd like to twinkle at you and invite you, hey kid, hey friend, hey brother, sister, how often do you really move through the world looking for the goodness, the blessings, the things to celebrate, to say thank you for, to open your heart to gratitude? The more you look for it, the more you will find it. One other way to weave the practice of gratitude into your daily life is at the end of the day to pause and reflect on, what am I grateful for from this day? And to journal, or to just do this as a reflective contemplation, to really count the blessings of the day, and maybe to let your heart reach back to everyone and everything and every place that was a blessing or a gift for you, with waves of gratitude and blessing. We'll oftentimes weave this practice of giving thanks into a practice that we learned from Angeles Arian, who is one of our teachers. She's a Basque elder and an anthropologist. And Angeles taught us this beautiful practice of the 4 rivers that came from the Basque people. And the Basque elders used to say, if you swim in the 4 rivers of life every day, you'll maintain your strength and vitality. And we found that this exercise is really useful for individuals, but it's also really beautiful to do with family, with kids. A lot of children really enjoy this.
With your partners.
You could set up a WhatsApp thread with friends and do this together every evening. So these 4 rivers traditionally are to ask yourself, where today did I swim in the river of challenge? What challenges am I grateful for?
Where did I have to
meaningful,
stretch
yeah,
or grow in some new ways to meet those challenges?
Where today did I swim in the river of surprise? and what surprises came that woke me up that I'm grateful for. Brother David Steindl-Rast, who's kind of the great gratitude guru, if you're familiar with his work, really profound teacher. Brother David used to chuckle and say, surprise is just another name for God. God is another name for surprise. To really be grateful for being mindful of those surprises.
So the river of surprise, and then there's the river of inspiration. Where today was I inspired by something I saw or heard, or something I felt within myself? What inspired me today? Where did I swim in the river of inspiration?
And the fourth one is the river of being deeply touched and moved. What experiences have I had today that have opened my heart, that have touched my heart, that I'm grateful for?
And often we'll add the fifth river, the river of gratitude. What am I grateful for from today? Where was my heart touched and opened by an experience of gratitude? And now in reflection, looking back on the day, what am I grateful for? And so as we begin to draw to a close for this session together, I invite you to just pause for a moment and to reflect, or to jot down if you have been taking notes or have a notebook there, just to pause and reflect on your experience in this last hour. What personal practices or ideas have been most interesting to you that you're grateful for from today's session? What new ideas or perspectives have been most meaningful for you that you're grateful for and that you'd like to remember and carry forward in your life to experiment with?
Before we go into closing piece, I would like to just encourage you to reach out to us if you've got any questions, if you have any reflections on this session, to reach out to us. You could also personal message us if you like on Facebook, Joel Levey or Joel and Michelle Levey. We actually have a Joel and Michelle Levey Facebook page. And to also keep in mind, we have an inspirational daily email that we send out.
For your river of inspiration.
Yeah, and if you're interested in signing up for that daily email, you could either PM us on Facebook, or you could just go to wisdomatwork.com and click on contact and contact us from there. Also on YouTube, we've posted a number of gratitude meditations. Here's our link. You could take a screenshot of that if you like, or just search for Joel and Michelle Levey or Wisdom at Work on YouTube, and you'll find that we've got a lot of media that's posted there that may be of interest, including gratitude meditations. So in that spirit, let's return to a few quiet moments to rest in this flow of contemplating gratitude, especially with this session in mind. So I'd invite you, if you like, just to reach up and touch your heart, to gently smile and to brighten the light of that mysterious, indwelling, loving awareness that can look out through your eyes and smile and go, yes, I'm seeing. And wow, I know I'm breathing in, and now I'm breathing out. And here comes a thought, and there it goes. And then here comes a sensation and other experience. And just to rest in this flow of sensations and vibrations streaming through you for a moment. And as you gently smile and watch and feel and experience the flow of sensations and vibrations and perceptions flowing through you, once again, just listen for, what am I grateful for from this session? What ideas, what techniques, what images or
feelings.
Your impressions really touched me in a way that I'm gratitude. And then just really take those to heart and feel and experience what your gratitude is for those ideas or those techniques. And if you like to radiate your gratitude to us, through us to all of our teachers, and through all of our teachers to their teachers, through all of their teachers to their teachers, teachers. To sense this incredible capacity we have to experience gratitude and to go deep enough into this gratitude that the gratitude overflows as blessing. And to once again, just open the portal of your awareness to be mindful of anyone or anything that comes to mind in this moment that you're grateful for, anyone or anything you'd like to share this great goodness with.
To play it forward, to ripple it out into all those lives that you touch directly or indirectly, now or in the future.
To envision that whatever goodness has come to you during this time, whatever inspiration, whatever meaning, whatever healing or nourishment that has come to you, you can take this to heart like waves of light, and you can dedicate this, like pouring this light into the continuum of your awakening being, like a light that will continue to light you up, and a light that you'll carry with you forevermore in the continuum of your consciousness. And in the same way, imagine that you can just breathe in this goodness and this light into your heart and share this with Stephen Seiden, for putting up this magnificent portal of possibilities that this Facebook group is, to Chris for all of his love and care and helping host this technically, to everyone else behind the scenes, just to pour some of this light into them and into the 112,000 people that are part of this Facebook community, just to light them up, to pour some of this light from your heart into their hearts, to share this gratitude and this blessing with the wish, may all beings receive this however they most need at this time. If they need peace, let this blessing overflowing from your gratitude bring peace. If they need healing, let this bring healing. If they need comfort, let this bring comfort or protection or nourishment. And as a last way of gathering this great goodness into our hearts and letting this flow from the portal of our hearts into the hearts of all beings we share our lives with in the larger body of life. Sharing this overflowing gratitude and blessings in a boundless way. Trusting that each being we share this with will receive this offering however they most need it this time.
And from our hearts to yours, great gratitude flowing back out. Thank you for your attention, your wholehearted participation in this event, and for all the practices of gratitude that you do weave and will continue to weave into your daily lives as a blessing for not only for yourself, but for everyone who your gratitude touches. Thank you all so much.